Sit your butt outside.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim live in Green Bay. Got it looking nice and festive over there. And we got Jacob up in Wisconsin as well. So, gents, how we doing this evening?
Good. Beautiful day. Packers play ball this weekend. What else could you want, right?
Absolutely, man. Jacob.
I had a great day other than the fact I had to watch that unbelievably bad highlight of what the new up-and-coming Australian Office is going to be. Not sure if you guys saw that masterpiece. Makes me want to throw up my mouth a little bit.
I've heard people talking about it. But
it's
2 thumbs down.
It is so bad, dude. It's so bad. Anyways.
That's good to know. It's good to know. All right. I'll tell you what isn't bad. That's taking the time to hop over to Ticket King and get your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live, Wisconsin-based since '92. They specialize in Packers tickets. They're actually Wisconsin's largest ticket source. Tim, not sure if you knew that. They got offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee, your hometown, those streets that you used to run. You can click on the link in the video description here that'll send you to theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer. Go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. All right.
If Tim used to run the streets of Milwaukee, we ain't putting enough respect on his name. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Talk about
Streets were a little different when I used to run them. A little different now, but the Ticket King for sure. Downtown Milwaukee, you can't beat it, and of course, like a half a block from Lambeau Field, up here in Green Bay. So make sure you check them out.
Absolutely, man. I'll tell you, Tim's got that street cred. And I got that holler cred is what we called it back home. Right? So a little bit different. It's funny to see how everybody comes from different backgrounds. So you got Emilio coming in from New York, upstate New York, right? Tim from Milwaukee. Jacob is from a little bit everywhere, right? Where he just keeps getting kicked out of places, I feel like. And he just
That's pretty much it.
So there you go.
Wait, you were born in Appleton, right, Jacob?
Yeah, I was born in Appleton and then moved to Hudson and then
the one and only Willem Dafoe as well.
Yes, thank you. That's a fun fact that a lot of people don't know about. Thank you, Tim.
2 famous people from Appleton, Jacob the Beard and Willem Dafoe. There you go.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Yep. All right. So we're off to a roaring start. Let's get the Jordan Love talk out of the way real quick. You guys know we talked extensively last night about Jordan Love's respect oranges. Salsa from New York?
Is that an old peso commercial? Is that what I remember?
New York City. We need that drop. We got to get that drop.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so we're already off the rails. We're
sorry.
3 minutes and 19 seconds into the show already sucks. It's not a good sign. It's going to be a long night.
Oh, wow.
So we opened up yesterday, and we talked for darn near the whole first hour about Jordan Love. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? You know, the big thing is, if you see any setbacks this week, I think that's pretty much an indicator. There's no chance he's going to play as long as he continues to practice and they ramp it up a bit. Anytime you hear that he took team drills, that's when things are really serious. I don't think LaFleur is going to allow that information out of the building, to be honest with you. I think they're going to keep that close to the vest. You guys know the big joke yesterday, and it's making national rounds now. LaFleur saying limited 18 times, right, and pissing people off, which I personally love. Well, today we were back at it again. Rob Demoski tweeted out, no surprise, but all Packers coach Matt LaFleur would say about Jordan Love is he was LIMITED, limited. He wouldn't commit to Love for sure practicing tomorrow, but said if he did, he would be limited. All right. So they actually went in and said, you know what, let's prod Tom Clements a little bit. Packers quarterback coach Tom Clements on how Jordan Love has looked in practice this week. He looks limited. Here. And then, of course, we had our boy offensive coordinator Adam Stinovich at the podium on how they'll know if Jordan Love is ready to go on Sunday. It's all right, you know, Tom Clements ain't giving us nothing. LaFleur ain't giving us nothing. Let's ask this a different way. Adam, Coach Stinovich, how do you know if Jordan Love is going to be ready on Sunday? And Adam Stinovich says, quote, I think he'll tell us. So, I love it, dude. I love the snarkiness. I love that they're trying to keep it close to the vest. So obviously Jordan was back at practice today in a limited fashion, right? So let's see. I think it was
Speaking of limited, there's Dennis Shook.
Already taking stray. So Tom Silverstein actually tweeted out Jordan Love is wearing some kind of device on the outside of his left knee. All right. Certainly not like the big old clunky braces they used to wear for MCLs. Didn't seem to be affecting him. So as you see in this clip, we're going to loop for a second here. It seems to be a smaller device than you would imagine like the offensive lineman wore. And you guys tell me, man, does it look like he's limited at all? Because to me, it doesn't. Now, that's not Jordan Love. That's Sean Clifford. Jordan Love's got a little bit better tan than that, all right? So that's a different guy there. But right here, look at Jordan. Obviously, he's wearing the sleeves, kind of covering that up, holding it in place too. But to me, he looks decent. You know what I'm saying?
Looks like a guy that's going to play football in Tennessee on Sunday. That's what he looks like to me.
Shooting that way, Tim. I'm telling you, man. I think, and I'm trying not to kind of go all in on it, but it seems like every day we check another box. Somebody said he wasn't in pads yesterday. I thought he was in shells yesterday. Is that, you guys remember?
I don't think he was in pads yesterday. One thing that caught my eye though, Clayton, I saw that you had reposted this and you made the caption or something like you had like the question face, kind of like, what does this even mean, sort of thing. And I thought, well, what does it mean? He's wearing a brace. And then I look closer. I'm like, no, he's not wearing a brace. And they said a device. Right. So he's got like, what kind of new witchery stuff is going on here? They got Elon Musk, like some weird, like sensory thing going on. Like, because you look at his leg right there. I don't see no bulking brace. I don't see anything like that.
And the way I grew up, man, when you heard device, that was usually around the ankle. You know what I'm saying? One of those bracelets is what
right. Yeah, it had like the aluminum hinges and like screws and pins.
I was actually talking about
spray WD-40 in it so it wouldn't squeak, you know? Yeah.
I was actually talking about the ankle bracelet just to make sure.
I was going to say all my stepdads had them ankle bracelets.
Yeah. You gotta make sure, you know, when Dad wanted to make it to your 6th birthday party, you had to have that bracelet on, is all I remember. You know what I'm saying? So Wes Hockowitz tweeted out another positive sign for Jordan Love, who's practicing in pads on Thursday. So there you go. Wide receiver Jaden Reed with the calf injury, guard Elton Jenkins with the illness/glute, returned after sitting out Wednesday. Tucker Kraft's shoulder is practicing, but wearing a red non-contact jersey. So they're playing it safe there. So here's some more clips. It's gonna be hard to. There we go. So now you see Jordan doing the little high knee look here, right? To me, he looks fine. He really does. And now you see it right there. You can get a better view. You see that, boys? Let me see if I can go full screen on that.
Well, yeah.
Like I said, it looks like what Rashawn had on his leg at training camp last year, coming off the massive ACL. It's like a hybrid between a brace and a sleeve or something. You know. Every 5 minutes something changes in athletic training and they come up with something new, a new treatment, a new device, a new therapy. But he looks good. He looks like a guy that's not hurt at all right now. But again, this is limited practice, a little bit of rollout, throw on the run kind of thing. Let's see what he looks like full speed running reps with the ones, hopefully tomorrow. I would think if he's not limited on the report going into this game that you know, he's probably going to play.
Yeah, and I think too I think it would be a wasted opportunity if they didn't wait till the last second, right, to make the move. So I would imagine the final one will probably be like questionable. You know what I'm saying? Like 50-50. I don't think it would be doubtful. It could be he's out, right? We all kind of know that's probably the more common approach to kind of dissecting this, but if I was LaFleur, I would really, Tim, I would try to sell it like, hey, we don't know, man, he's questionable, and then bang, Sunday, 90 minutes before the game.
Well, then we got to get these guys on the sideline to stop tweeting these videos. Then
I was gonna say because hey,
I respect pretty good here.
I think you guys know that probably one of our most respected, whatever you want to call y'all, the posse members, the listeners, audience people, is Coach Schlen, and he says he still looks ginger on that left leg to me.
Oh, okay.
And Jay went in and said, I also see that too, Coach. Do you guys see that as well? I mean, you know what, I can definitely see there is definitely a brace there. I think it's probably, you know, we got this newfangled, like legit, like, what is it? Like lightweight carbon fiber stuff where it's not the big bulky, you know, metal brace that we remember of watching the 1980s kind of stuff where it's quite clear you're wearing a brace. That looks like some sort of maybe, I don't know. almost like a sleeve mixed with a.
Yeah.
Do you see him gingerly there? I personally,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know what?
I don't know.
A lot of times you put a device like that on just to remind yourself that you do have an injury or that you are working past something, because he looks mobile as hell, right? Like he looks like he's not favoring it. Again, we're not doctors, but just watching this on loop and seeing him kind of move around, he's not grabbing at anything. He's not.
Wait a minute, Tim. You didn't go to doctor school? I went to doctor school.
No, I did not. I did not go to medicine school. But and if it looks like he's favoring it, or there might be a little limp or whatever, it's because he's got an MCL injury. Like we know this already. I think the sleeve is on there to remind Jordan to take it easy out there, because if he was running, free, there's a chance he maybe tweaks something. So I don't know, maybe it's more precautionary than anything at this point.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and this sounds silly, but as a playing baseball pretty much my whole life, as a right-hander, you slide on that left leg, and man, you slide on the outside of that left leg with whatever he's got on there. That's going to hurt a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure it's padded on the inside and everything, but that is something that pops up. As far as him looking ginger, like Coach Lynn's saying here, it's one of those things. It's like the longer you look at it, maybe you start to trick yourself into seeing it. I didn't see it initially, but I can kind of see what he's saying too. Obviously he's not running full speed and going. Here we are. We said we weren't going to do this, and we're breaking it down.
I know. I'm sorry. And he goes on to say these drills are essentially walkthroughs. I want to see him at full speed.
Yes,
which I would argue that the best thing to gain from him working out like he is today is that yesterday he did basically a very, I wouldn't say intense, but he did seemingly a normal workout, and they didn't feel the need to sit him today. Does that make sense? Like if something was bad, if something was inflation wise,
Yeah, no doubt. They would have set him down immediately. For sure.
Dennis Shook in the chat says he wears a precautionary sleeve sometimes himself. So
just the tip.
Unbelievable. All right, so like how I'm always reacting like, God, y'all are so immature, and I'm the one hitting these sound drops. That's what's beautiful is they don't know it's me half the time doing it. Tim just gets the blame for it all.
Yeah.
It's Kicker Talk next. No, it ain't, Greg. We're moving on, sir.
$10 super chats for Kicker Talk. Get them in now.
I would rather y'all keep your money, to be honest with you. Talking Kicker. Jacob, you got a few marked there. Let's hit them, man, if you haven't already.
Well, all right. I will say one thing though about kickers is I saw some poll. I can't remember forgive me. It was a friend of the show. I believe they did a poll to see what would Narvidson's name should be, and they had a couple good ones. And I posted underneath. I can't believe we haven't talked that he's the Narv dog. Yeah. And like he quoted back and he goes, "Oh, you're right. That's what his default name is until we find out." Anyways. Greg Rice is saying, I can't disagree with this. The Packers need to make a change in their linebacker room by Luke Sims, September 19th. I'm assuming he's quoting an article. Is that what he's doing there? I don't think I highlighted that one. Did you, Tim?
I did. I actually.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. I haven't seen the article, but I thought that was interesting that if Luke Sims, and again, I'm sure he's quoting it right out of the article there. The Packers need to make a change in their linebacker room. I mean,
would that be referring to Quay, I'm assuming? I
think it's referring to pretty much everything there. Like, you've got to try to get the hot hands on the field type thing. I mean, like, to me, it was week one. You guys remember I was on here like a doofus going, Adrian Cooper needs more snaps, man. He's earned them. And then, of course, Eric Wilson gets the interception. Now I'm going, Eric Wilson needs more snaps. He's earned them. So it's like every week, right? The reality is Coach Hafley, he sees these guys more than anyone, so he knows who gives you the best shot. The reason I think Quay will not come off the field this year, and I agree with the move, is because the most important aspect to playing Mike Backer, and some people have got it kind of mixed up and everything. You hear some people speak about the Will, the Mike, and the Sam as if it's 1990s football, and that's just not the case. The Mike needs to be that pass cover linebacker. Again, they're very interchangeable. But when we're in the nickel set, it's all right. Like last week, we fired Quay a couple times on a blitz, right? In that specific situation, you got the other backer dropping into coverage. He's kind of playing more of the mock, and the other guy's playing the wheel run. That may have been a mock blitz, but again, the mock is designed to cover the tight end, and even in some cases, cover a wide receiver in the slot if they try to get cute while you're in zone defense and corners aren't actually following guys. And we'll get into a little bit of D coordinator talk here in a minute with Jeff Hafley. He had some absolute gems today. But, yeah, I mean, I can't say I disagree with it either. But for me, your best cover linebacker is Quay Walker. He needs to be at the mic. McDuffie is not a better cover linebacker than Quay. Eric Wilson made a hell of a play on that ball, but again, he played 7-8 snaps, right? And he was playing it from the Sam position, if I remember. It was either Sam or Will. He was an outside linebacker, and he just kind of dropped. Hafley talks about that, I believe, in the presser too. But hopefully that answered the question. I don't know. I just think they need to get Edger and Cooper and Eric Wilson more looks personally. But then again, I think it was a third down play where McDuffie screamed down on the flat and made a tackle and a stop to bring up fourth down. Like he didn't play horrible either. I understand what you're seeing though with Quay in the run fits. It's tough at times. It really is, but that's the negative aspect of his game, So
real quick, just to hammer down that point there. Of course, I just unstarted. I believe it was somebody was asking about or mentioned the fact that Quay was mentioned by Hafley, where he basically put a lot of praise on him today in that interview. We might have a clip there. I don't know if you got that coming up here, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, and show that I think Hafley, like you just reiterated, kind of thinks that he is going to be on this starting lineup for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a tall linebacker with damn near world-class speed for the linebacker position, that's everything you need, especially if you're going to play Tampa 2 in some of these matchy principles, which I think it's hilarious. We're playing some of the same defense we played last year under Barry. I tried to say it all offseason, there's only so many defensive looks and defensive play calls, and people pretend like you bring in a new DC and everything's going to change. It just really doesn't happen like that. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. No, the Too Old for This must have made this comment while we were talking about the Office thing, which is one of my favorite, is when Michael Scott is standing in, I think it's Times Square, and he's looking behind. He goes, "I'm gonna go get me a New York slice, authentic New York slice," and he goes to Sbarro, and I just.
So is it Sbarro or is it Sbarro?
Oh, it's Sbarro, dude.
Sbarro, okay.
And it is good. I used to get that all the time. There was one off Broadway in Nashville. It's disgustingly cheap and really good.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
Jesus. Too Old for This says, "Why do fans want Love to sit even if he's cleared to play? They won't let him play if he's not good to go. Some non-existent Malik Willis revenge game?"
I think I may have started that actually. But no, this is the thing. And Justin from Packernet Graphics was hitting me up earlier today. You all right, Jake? Good, bud?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Cat knocked over all the stuff.
Always blame the cat. That remind me of Biodome. Let the cat take the rat when he was crying. Anyway, that's an old movie. So
Good movie.
The thing that got me and me and Justin were talking about this earlier. There's like several podcasters that are like so hell bent on he's not gonna play, guys. Stop talking about it. It's like, why are you so upset that fans want Jordan to play? And it's like you're not allowed to disagree with certain people, and they just seem so irked, and they seem so, I don't know, it just bothers me. I don't understand that. I don't. Like, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And the thing, like I told Justin, God forbid he starts, you won't hear them talk about it. They won't revisit that they gave people hell early in the week that, hey, Jordan might play. They'll just go completely hush about it. So I don't understand that either, though, too. Go ahead, Jake.
All right, we'll go back to this. And if my stream cuts out, guys, I got like orange skies and tornado stuff going on right now, so I apologize if that happens. Greg Rice says, "Is there a baby crying or is that Atham?" Oof, just Atham's taking shots. I didn't even see him in.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Ian comes in and says, "Love is playing this week. Teammates look at him practicing. Teammates look at him at practice looking this good. They will expect the leader to play." Yeah, I think that's maybe a fairer point there. And then Mr. Coach Len comes in again and says, "Quay has to stay at Mike. Cooper and Hopper are too light. McDuffie is too light also." What are your thoughts on that, guys?
I don't think they're too light. No, I don't. The way the game is right now, and again, I know passing's down currently, which is fairly normal for early in the year. And you guys heard the
Do away with the too high.
Oh, the great Mel Copper today. Absolutely. He walked up and just smacked the Hornets nest. It's like some of the comments that these professionals make, they've convinced themselves that fans don't know anything about football. Like they've convinced themselves that I'm superior. I know what I'm talking about. These little people, let me throw a hot take out there. Nobody will question it. He got raked over the damn coals, and rightfully so. It's just wild. And if you guys want to hear a good conversation, go listen to the McAfee show talk about it and hear Chuck Pagano, who spent his entire adult life in the game of football talking on the defensive side of the ball. Hear him talk about it. Hear Michael Lombardi talk about it. It was absolutely hilarious, man. Yeah, and we actually just deleted that drop.
Oh, no.
Who the hell is Mel Copper? Anyway, in a way.
I know why.
Hold on. Adam's got it perfect in a way.
Perfect spelling right there, Adam. Congratulations, sir. Anything else in the comments, Jake? Are we good?
Yeah, actually, I just got another good one here by a couple people. By Daryl Ezian. He says, with the addition of Cornelius Johnson, have we talked about this guy at all? He brings great size, standing 6'3", weighing 213, and sure can block as well. I believe he was a 7th round draft pick from, I can't remember which team, but he possessed some tools where people were like, what is this signing? It's really stupid. I don't understand it. And it's like, well, really? We like strong, tall wide receivers that can block. That doesn't make sense to you?
Can block.
That to me makes all the sense in the world right now. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's like the running back we brought in, man. Hearing Ryan talk about him on his podcast today.
Is that Chris Jones?
Chris
Harris?
I don't know. We should know his name. We do.
I thought it was Chris Jones. Or Chris Brooks. My bad. Chris Brooks.
That's it. I mean, that dude, he had a hell of a he had a hell of a preseason. He done really well with the Dolphins. He averaged over 6 yards a carry in college at BYU, I believe it was. And you hear LaFleur talk about him. He's a great one-cut runner. He's good in pass pro. He's got a good grab of the system. He's a great contributor on special teams. And here's the main thing is A.J. Dillon's out. Marshawn Lloyd's out. He's going to be running back 3. You're going to see him with carries this week, no doubt about it, especially if we get the run game going and got to give some of these guys these breathers because I think the latest weather report's saying 93 degrees. So it's going to be toasty. So, all right, let's dip into the injury report real quick and just kind of give you guys an update. We were supposed to hit on the whole thing yesterday, but the Jordan Love talk got kind of out of hand. So here's the Packers injury report. Kenny Clark, Wednesday, limited with a toe. Thursday, limited with the toe. Kingsley Enagbare got a groin injury. Limited on Wednesday. He was full participation today, so that's great news. Josh Jacobs with the back. He was limited Wednesday, limited today. All right. Elton Jenkins, illness/glute, did not participate on Wednesday. He was limited today. Tucker Kraft with the shoulder injury, limited both days. Jordan Love, obviously, limited both days if you haven't been keeping up. Jordan Morgan with the shoulder injury did not participate both days. So he is not on the IR, to the best of my knowledge, right? So they have not made that move. So it shouldn't be nothing too long term, but he has not practiced all week. Josh Myers, ankle, limited both days. Jaden Reed, and some people were freaking out over this because he didn't participate Wednesday. Tim, this is what we seen last week with this calf injury, man. And they just kind of played it smart. Obviously, he came out and played on Sunday. He was fine, but he was limited today. Am I remembering that right? Wasn't it last week, Tim, that he had the same injury? And it's like almost like some people were treating it like, oh, my God, when did this happen? It's like, bro, this happened last week, and he played.
Yeah, it was a calf and a shin, they were saying. So lower leg. I'm assuming he's dealing with a pull or something, strained calf, something like that. But, I mean, he looked good last Sunday. So hopefully that's like you said, we're just doing this again, keeping him limited throughout the week. I mean, Bird's the man. The whole goal is to have him as close to 100% for game day as possible and then throw him out there and cut him loose. So I fully expect him to play this weekend.
I agree. Zach Tom with the quadricep, limited both days. Carrington Valentine with the ankle injury, did not participate Wednesday, did not participate today. So looking like he'll probably be out this week would be my guess. Rasheed Walker with the shoulder injury, limited both days. That one worries me a little bit. Hopefully that's nothing crazy serious. I'm glad that they're keeping him limited and make sure that you get your starting left tackle out there because, again, he's not the best run blocker. I know he's had his share of penalties, but this dude is a legit top 5 pass blocking tackle. He is unbelievable at pass blocking. So on the Titans side, you've got is that Luke Gifford? Am I seeing that right? It's kind of small there. That's what she said. Back injury, not listed on Wednesday, did not participate on Thursday. Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle, NIR rest, did not participate Wednesday. He was back today, obviously, with that vet rest. Same thing with L'Jarius Sneed, their great press corner. Did not participate Wednesday. He did participate today. And then Tajay Spears, their backup running back with an ankle injury, did not participate on Wednesday. He was limited today. So that would be nice. Don't wish injury on anyone. We always say that. But, look, if Tajay – ankle's not to mess with, dude. Sit this one out, man. Get yourself healthy, dude. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself healthy. So, anything you guys want to add to the injury report there?
Tim, I mean, to me, that Rasheed Walker one's the most scary. And that's unfortunately, we've been really blessed, I would say, obviously, with the exception of Jordan Love, but the injuries, it just doesn't feel like we've been very much affected by it, which I know that sounds crazy again with our starting quarterback being out. But other than that, I mean, we've been kind of pretty blessed, I'd say, up to this point with not losing anybody for long term. I mean, obviously AJ Dillon has his spell there, and I never wanted that. Nobody wanted that, but pretty much as a whole, as an offense, as a defense, as a whole team right now, we're looking pretty good. But when you look at that laundry list of guys right there, that's a lot of people. I would want Rasheed Walker to be healthy out of that group, to be honest, just because I want that guy protecting Jordan if he's coming back, obviously, if Jordan's the one that's going to be starting. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I look at Kingsley and Igbare, and I see him limited, yesterday, and now he's full participant today. Those are the kind of things you want to see trending upward. You don't want it the other way around. You don't want to see a guy that was limited and then did not practice. Or
what did you think about Tucker Kraft in the red jersey today? Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Clearly, they want him to go, right? So
right.
With the shoulder deal, is the red jersey's probably like, keep your hands off him, handle him with kid gloves. We don't want a setback, which leads more credence to what we were talking about, which is if these guys are cleared and they're healthy enough, they're cleared by the the trainers and the doctors, then we're going to start them, and that goes from Jordan Love all the way down. You look at a guy like Josh Jacobs, he's been dealing with this back issue, I believe, since his time in Vegas. So this is not like something new. This is just a workload management kind of thing. I'm assuming he'll be limited again tomorrow, or, maybe a full participant, who knows. But I think the bulk of these guys on this report, they're going to play. Obviously, Rasheed Walker is a big concern. I look at CV too, Carrington Valentine with that ankle injury. Not looking too good for him. Same thing with, Jordan Morgan. Clearly, we're going to see the Sean Ryan show again on Sunday. And with Jordan Morgan not going to IR, that doesn't mean he's a shoe-in to play right away. But clearly, they didn't want to commit to having him sit long-term. So hopefully he can work back from that shoulder. But all we're looking at here on these lists is for guys not to regress. Right. As long as you're seeing them stay the same or you're seeing progression, then we're good to go for this weekend, I think. I think most of these guys are going to play, with the exception of a couple.
Hey, Greg Rice has a great point here, guys. How many hammies are on this list?
Right.
I'll tell you what, big old zero.
Yeah, it was weird, man. Like the hammies
cool.
kind of got fixed, and all of a sudden pecs started popping off the bone. It was strange, wasn't it? And I think they did tone back maybe the bench press just a touch. So both of those injuries, both of those pecs, actually all three of them, including Coach LaFleur, came on the bench press, they said. So very interesting. Let's see. Bernie in the chat says Kraft blocking showed out on the All-22. You ain't lying, Bernie. That dude, I love that guy, man. I really
awesome.
do. There's so many people that compare him, and many people they remember the golden years of the 1990s with Mark Chmura and Brett Favre and everyone, and many people compare him to Chmura, kind of that type of tight end. I love it. I'll take it, man. I thought Mark Chmura was one hell of a tight end back then. Obviously a different game, but the thing about Tucker Kraft, man, what you want out of a tight end is you want a guy like we talked about who they can pass block a 7 tech, they can run block a 9, and they've got great spatial awareness, right? That's the big thing. And really what Tucker Kraft brings to the table is he's got great hands, and he's always getting yak. There's never a situation where it's like he's falling down or he doesn't have good balance. He's well planted, I guess is the best way to say it, man. He's one of my favorite Packers right now. I love that dude. Absolutely awesome. So we were kind of talking about Rasheed Walker and how important it is for him to play because of the pass blocking, and that's definitely been the Packers' strength so far on the offensive line. This was pretty cool. 33rd team tweeted out how every offensive line fared in pass protection in week 2. All right. And this is how it goes. Number 1, Chargers. Number 2, and again, this is listed by average week 2 rank in pressure plus sack rates. Okay. So this is pressure plus sacks. Chargers 1, Colts 2, Ravens 3, Giants 4. That was really interesting because the Giants have been cheeks in pass blocking in the recent years here. Dolphins 5, Lions 6, Jets 7, Cardinals 8, Panthers 9, and the Green Bay Packers come in at the number 10 spot. All right, now keep this in mind. Notice the star. That's 0 sacks allowed. Right. Wow. Detroit Lions has allowed 0 sacks. The Green Bay Packers have allowed 0 sacks, and the Buffalo Bills have allowed 0 sacks. So there's only 3 teams in the NFL that hasn't allowed a sack yet, and Green Bay is one of those. So Rasheed Walker, big part of that statistic there. So hopefully he's good to go there on Sunday. The other thing I'll point out here too, and I want to get your all's take on this. Look who's number 32, guys. Notice who's 32 down there?
Yeah, look who Respect Orange says also. Look who's at 31. So we can just take a minute and make fun of 31 and 32. And for that sake, look who's at 29. San Fran, bro.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Wait, who's at 31? What does that say?
Roar.
The Bears
still suck.
There you go. And the Tennessee Titans, the Tennessee Titans are dead last in the league in week 2. Now, keep in mind, they played the Jets. Really good defense. Historically been a good defense here since Saleh went to New York. So,
bro, let's blitz all damn day on Sunday.
Let's go, dude.
Let's just go.
And the way I'm looking at it, too, no, Prince, don't you start this. The way I look at this is like, you could probably get pressure with 4, Tim. You probably can.
Yeah, that's
man.
true. That's true. But can you imagine seeing Will Levis look at firing that linebacker or nickel blitz or something out of the blue? I'd love it.
Yeah, cue up the circus music, right? No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Let's see. Since we're
wasn't it real quick before we move on? Is it Nicholas Petit-Fier? Is that the right tackle that will be tasked with guarding Mr. Rashawn Gary? I'm pretty sure that I sent you a screenshot of how many hurries or sacks or something like that. He's like 61 out of 61 as far as I remember, as far as offensive tackles is getting burned. So this guy is up for a freaking day. I'm just gonna say, if y'all have any sorts of bets you want to do, I would never tell you where to put your money. Never tell you. But Rashawn Gary over under on a sack. I'm running that to the bank, baby. Over.
You said he was 61st, is that right?
Yeah, that was the I saw it from
crazy, man. That's so close to
65%.
65%. That's what By the way, shout out.
Tell you.
I'm gonna break some news here for you guys. I love, we got so many, Bates and all the great listeners, Mr. Larry donating memorabilia to give out to PTA Posse members. We got just such a cool crew, right? This one is really, really interesting. Trevor Anderson, loyal listener, sent me an email. Said, Clayton, I won't be denied on this one because I think he's tried to donate stuff before. I'm like, man, keep that. Guys, I should pull up the email for you. He got 2 pictures of Mark Murphy autographed, all right? And he had him sign on it 65% on the
No, he didn't.
Yes. And he said, I got 2, one to give away and one for you to keep. So we're going to put that 65% picture here in the studio. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I was thinking, man, to have you want to talk about mental toughness. You want to talk about awareness, Tim. When the game's on the line, think play or not play. Trevor's a damn player. He went in there and said, I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish when I get this autograph from Mark Murphy. I wonder how Mark acted. I bet it was hilarious, dude.
I bet he was cool. I bet he was cooler than Polar Bear toenails.
Mark is unapologetically himself. And I think Mark Murphy has been – listen, I'm not saying he's Bob Harlan. we all know he's not Bob Harlan, but my God, man, you step into the footsteps of Bob Harlan, you got a big shadow to fill right there. I think Mark Murphy's done one hell of a job. I do, man.
Yeah. And I think the legacy is going to continue with Ed Policy too. I really do.
I do too.
I believe we're just going to continue to go forward, and who better to lay that groundwork than Mark Murphy, because he's been incredible. And you talk about a GM that is fully accessible to his players, to the staff, to the fans, shareholders. City of Green Bay. He's an ambassador for Green Bay Packer football, and when he ultimately retires and hangs it up, he will be missed. But I feel like the future's in good hands with Ed Policy, and a lot of that is due to the foundation that Mark Murphy has built here going forward. Tim,
do you think it's fair to say that Mark Murphy single-handedly was one of the only people that could ever grow a small market like Green Bay, and the way they did with the title town, with the expansions, with the unbelievable hotels, the restaurants, the events there, but still keeping that that small town feel as he does it, and the integrity of the team while he's doing that? I would
agree with that 100%. I think he was integral in that process. And, one thing that's constant is change, right? I'm a person who hates change. I'm old school, but things are gonna progress. They're gonna change. That's what happens. You evolve. But Mark Murphy has certainly balanced the scales between expansion and change, and also staying true to that old school mentality that makes Titletown what it is. We were Titletown well before we had this development and all the fancy stuff we have now. It took a guy like Mark Murphy to really make that come into fruition and to do it right. We've seen change. I'm a big believer that change is only good if it's for the better. And clearly the changes that we've made here at 1265 and the surrounding area have been for the better. And we owe a great debt of gratitude to Mark Murphy, because I feel like he's mastered that art of keeping your eyes forward while respecting your past and your history, and never forgetting where you come from, so to speak. So kudos to Mark Murphy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Bernie with the super chat. Thank you so much, Bernie. He says, hope Will Levis is still in the gift giving mode Sunday. Amen to that, bro. Amen to that. And here's the thing. His coach really, I don't know if you guys seen the clip, but his coach ate his lunch on national television, right?
Yeah,
and rightfully
it was pretty bad.
And he literally says, "What the F are you doing?" And then he goes into the presser and doubles down. They go, what was it you said to Will on the sideline? He said, I think it's pretty obvious what I said to Will on the sideline. Like he's got to protect the football. So you've lost some confidence there, obviously. You being the head coach, you've lost confidence in your starting quarterback. I'm going to tell you something else, man. Those other guys in that locker room, they're busting their ass. They're out there in that Nashville heat, and they're doing everything they can to win a ball game. And then you got one player who keeps making the same mistakes over and over and over, and not doing it in a way like I'm going to take one for the team here. There's no I'm going to live to play another down here. It's almost as if like nothing else matters around me. I'm just going to go out and do what I want to do. Forget what the game plan is type thing. I'm not saying he's not running the plays called. I'm simply saying situational awareness and just not accepting the fact that you got to live to play another down. I guarantee you that locker room is a little fractured. And the other thing too, man, like you said, Jacob, and I'm not going to dog on Titan fans too much. I've got family members who are Titans fans, and they're loyal Titan fans. They'll go to games regardless. But man, there's not many Titan fans that are like them. We're going to be going down to the game, and we're sitting in some nice seats, and we got an indoor area that we got, if we need access to it. And we're going to be going to a big tailgate party with a bunch of landscaping companies. We're going to be up there with what we refer to as the upper crust, right? And I'm telling you, those people, they don't care about football. This is just an event. This
is a social gathering more than anything.
Absolutely. And there's hardcore fans out there. There's no doubt about it. I see the Titans flags down here when they're a horrible team. But I'm telling you, man, that fan base has got to be going, what are we doing? Like we ran we ran Mike Vrabel off for this dumpster fire. Like you go 0-3, there's pressure on that team this week. There's no
And if anything, that should put us on notice going on the road to play this team. You talk about Will Levis. I heard Mike Wall on the air today, talking about him being a young kid with, he's got no memory. He's got no conscience out there. So he's making mistakes, and it's like I guarantee you Will Levis isn't letting that stuff eat him up. If anything, he's going to go out there and try and win the game with every throw again. So that could play to our advantage, or it could play to our disadvantage for us too. If we take this for granted and think, oh, this rookie's going to give us, a ton of picks and he's going to make mistakes, we have to make him make those mistakes because, you look at a player like that. I mean, if you look at, probability or whatever, I mean, chances are he's going to have a game here one of these days. Let's just hope it's not against us this weekend. So I think we need to treat this game like any other game and, not take it for granted with this matchup and just put together a good game plan and get after that quarterback. Yeah,
definitely. Greg Rice says, is Levis a scrambler? He can scramble. And when he scrambles, he kind of runs with power. Like he's one of those quarterbacks that he'll lower his shoulder. He ain't scared. And he's a very physical dude. He's in peak condition as far as the physicality, the beating you take as a quarterback. He can absorb that. He can.
Let's see how much shoulder lowering happens when he meets Javon Bullard this weekend.
He did it against the Jets on Sunday, and there was a couple of times I was going, damn, Will, you might want to slide there. He took some licks. But that's just how he plays. And again, if it's Brett Favre, like Brett always said, as long as I throw more touchdowns and interceptions, they'll still let me play, right? Will Levis doesn't have the pelts on the wall yet, so he's going to get run out of town if he keeps it up. This was his pass chart. I think this was from this week against the Jets. He was 19 of 28 for 192 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. You see the interception was deep along the left side of the field there, kind of the left third, I guess you could say. But you notice his pass chart, the majority of his throws in week 2 against the Jets were on the right side of the field, and they were under 20 yards. He only threw 3 passes over 20 yards. So to answer your question, whoever asked that, he can scramble, but he is more of a pocket passer. He's kind of trying to think of who to compare him to, because he does try to create space to make the throw rather than just scramble.
Chad Pennington.
I wouldn't say that. Chad Pennington was accurate, and he had a noodle arm. Will Levis is inaccurate, and he's got a cannon. So now they
Taysom Hill, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I could see a little bit of that. He's just again, we haven't seen him with he's been in 2 systems now, right? And it kind of goes with Malik Willis. Like when you put these quarterbacks out there, you go, okay, you're our starter, and then you run the whole coaching staff off, and then you bring in a new system. Now you got to give yourself a year or 2 to learn that system. That doesn't negate the mistakes, though.
Right.
Yeah, he's like I said, his strengths are he's got great arm strength, he's got a quick release, he's fairly accurate, but he's just always trying to throw off platform, and his mechanics are so all to hell that's where his accuracy goes down to 2. So
isn't one of his main weaknesses that he lost his job to Sean Red Dog Clifford up in Penn State and had to actually tuck tail and run down to Kentucky?
He went down to Kentucky, and if I remember correctly, the first year it was exciting. We were like, heck yeah, man, Will's a good football player. The second year, they changed the offense. So think about that. He's played for 4 different offensive schemes now, including college. You know what I mean? So he's been changed up a lot. And you could just tell, Jacob, that in Kentucky his last year, they were trying to protect him. They knew he was going to be a first-round pick. And it was like they stopped with the design quarterback runs and all that and tried to kind of prop him up and it really hurt Kentucky's year that year. And when you're a Kentucky fan like me, they don't need any help hurting their results, okay? They do a good enough job of that without watering down the system. So, no, I can say that. I've witnessed it for 42 freaking years.
Hey, do you think – actually, everybody in the chat, I think that actually being a Kentucky fan in that league or in that conference and comparing that to being a Badger fan in the big – whatever the fricky now we call it, Big 12, Big 14, but it's the Big 10, that's pretty similar. We're almost there, and then there's about 3 or 4 games where you just every year will make you want to just dig a hole, lay there, have somebody cover you up in it. You know what I mean?
I remember the LSU game. They had LSU beat at Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington, and they throw a last-second Hail Mary to win the game. LSU does, and I'm telling you, there's 2 things I noticed when they converted on that Hail Mary. I was sitting there like. And the first thing I see is some idiot fan jump on the field with a 3-piece suit. I'm like, why are you wearing a suit to a Kentucky game? They're running on the field celebrating while LSU just won the game because they don't realize he caught the Hail Mary. I'm going, you knuckleheads. My phone rings. It's my brother. God rest his soul. I answered and I went, yeah, he went. This is what he said. He goes, welcome to Kentucky football. So, I'll never forget it. So, that being said, that's the end of hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two. Appreciate y'all. All right, so let's move along to again. We kind of looked at Will Levis's throw. Let's look at his throw chart here just a touch too. And I want to get to Christian Watson. He made a comment that was really exciting. We're kind of all over the joint right now, but that's all right. So this was his throw chart. You see, I love these charts. So you could see he's success last week against the Jets was all on the right side of the field. He could do nothing to his left. Oh, by the way, when he fumbled, you know, the infamous screenshot of him hovering in the air with the ball loose, he was trying to scramble left. You guys remember the interception I showed you last night against the Chicago Bears? Guess what? That happened scrambling to his left. So I feel like the key will be try to lock down the right side of the field and force him to go left. Remember the deep interception? That came on the left side of the field. Same thing with the run charts that we always hit on and go, okay, where are they having the most success at in the run? Let's try to steal a gap or at least a half a gap on that side of the line of scrimmage. And then same thing with the quarterbacks. We said it last week. If you guys will remember, I know me and Emilio talked about it a lot. Anthony Richardson. Don't let him have the deep pass. Make him play with touch, right? And he loves to throw to the left side of the field, be looking for it. Where did Xavier McKinney get his interception? Intermediate pass, left side of the field. And you have bodies everywhere. He was covered underneath. X just kind of stepped back, took the pick, and went with it. So with Levis early on, it feels like you want to try to take away the front side of the play from him being a right-handed quarterback, make him play to the left side of the hash, and also try to get him flushed out to the left because that's where he really makes mistakes. That's kind of my early take on it. You guys got anything to add to that? Go right ahead.
I was just going to say that Rashawn Gary, like I just talked about, going against Nicholas Petit-Fiere, I believe is his name at right tackle, should probably hinder what he likes to do here, which is clearly going to that right side. So if Gary can get there, and I've noticed a lot of this, Tim, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but Gary, I feel like has taught some of the younger kids that if they can't get there, put your hands up. I was always told that as a defensive lineman because you never know, like it really does affect the trajectory, the ability of that quarterback. Absolutely. So what do you think about the possibility of Gary just lighting a bomb on that right side?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Like I said, put him in the wide nines and, you know, let's get after him. But I also think it's going to be a delicate dance too, because, you know, if we can, like Clayton was saying, can we get home with 4? You know, maybe we don't have to go super blitz heavy, super pressure heavy, and let this kid stand in the pocket and, you know, think he's going to pick us apart. But, you know, we got some ball hawks in that secondary. So
that was the other thing too.
Whether he's in that pocket or he's flushed from the pocket, you know, this could be one of those things where if he rolls out, that could get us in more trouble than keeping him in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think him being back there, scanning, going through progressions, maybe seeing ghosts, as they say, seeing things that aren't there, that could benefit us just as much, if not more, than, you know, sending the dogs after him all day long.
Yeah, and the big thing too, Tim, if you remember the interceptions we showed, the 3 interceptions he's thrown this year, pressure in his face off 4. 2 of the interceptions, just a 4-man rush. They sugared a 5th and dropped him into coverage. And then the other one was a 5-man rush. And I think that was actually a delayed safety blitz off of one side. So, I think you hit the nail on the head. Put more people in coverage, contain him in the pocket. All these people that want the defensive line and the pass rush to just pin their ears back, you might have to wait one more week. Wait till Sam Darnold. That's when we'll do that. We ain't got to worry about him running around the joint. But Will Levis still has a little bit of that in him too, where he can gash you. I'll put it this way: he's way more effective scrambling than Tommy DeVito. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if he can cut somebody apart, you know, getting too aggressive with your pass rush, Will Levis damn sure can. So,
and like you said, he's an aggressive runner with the ball. He's not going to slide. So you got to go up there and make a play on him if he's going to run. Definitely,
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So let's do this, man. Instead of hitting the Christian Watson clip, we'll hit that at the end. Let's get to some Jeff Hafley sound bites. Y'all good with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I just interject one quick comment, which I think is good? Prince just threw in here, Andre Dillard revenge game. I knock on wood, please don't let this happen. But if Rasheed Walker cannot go and Dillard somehow slides in there at left tackle and goes against the Titans, that's a story I didn't think about. I did not think about that.
Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot he played for the Titans, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
Thick.
some people were saying, why do the Packers keep ending up with all these Titans? You got Andre Dillard, you got Malik Willis, you got the kicker Narvison, right? I'll tell you why. And maybe Narvison doesn't apply, but the former GM for the Titans that got ran out of town with Vrabel, or right before Vrabel got ran out of town, I'm almost positive he has worked with Goody as a scout. I'm pretty sure he comes from that lineage. So I guarantee you, Goody got on the horn with him and like, hey, how do you feel about this player? How you feel? I guarantee he was like, Malik Willis is a good football player, right? They just, the ownership wanted to keep changing coaches and this and that and the other. So I think that's why we're ended up with some of these Titans, is because Goody's going to look at the player evaluation very similarly to that GM. I can't remember his name right now. It's a real common sounding name. It don't matter. But anyway, that's cool about Andre Dillard though, Jacob. I forgot all about that, man. So here was Jeff Hafley today meeting with the press. Anytime Coach Half talks, man, I learn something every time. And you get one of two people when you hear Jeff Hafley talk. Either they absolutely love everything he has to say, or they think he's just a complete fraud. I've seen some of those here lately because people don't know how to think about situational football, right? They don't know how to think about how you call the game in third down and how it is. It's about winning the ball game. It's not about stats. It's not about patting on. The most important stat, I said this last year, I get raked over the coals, is points scored and points allowed. Those are the two most important. I could give a rat's ass about DVOA, total yards, all that. We use those to really get a feel for, okay, what's this team good at and what are they bad at? But I'm just telling you right now, man, those same people that argue those points about DVOA and everything, if you go to them and say, all right, you can choose a better DVOA or less points allowed, which one are you choosing? You'd be a knucklehead to choose any other statistic other than points allowed. So that's here was Coach Half today. I just tweeted out Green Bay Packers defense coordinator Jeff Hafley talks about the importance of vision and break along with how it applies to coverage rules with a match-heavy scheme. So you're going to hear a lot. When you guys hear me talk about, like the other day, we talked about a cover 6 match hybrid or hybrid match. There's a lot of match principles involved with Jeff Hafley's defense. Many people thought, because some of the sports media led some to believe, Jeff Hafley's going to come in and play bump and run. We're playing man coverage, baby. That's what he does. Because he had one quote of him saying he loves bump and run. But he does a great job kind of explaining things here with match and just other principles in general.
Do you saddle them with a lot of rules so that they can play with vision, or is it the opposite of that where you try to take the rules off and just let them see and react?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. You have rules within every coverage. I'll give you an example. If you're a pattern match team, you're spending a lot of time each week matching routes. If 2 goes in, I do this. If 2 goes out, I do this. If 2 goes up, you always kind of look at 2 in, 2 out, 2 up. Same with 3.
2 in, 2 out, 2 up. You guys remember what we said with match? If and then. That's what match coverage is. If they do this, then I do that. When he talks about matching the 2, out, in, up.
Right? And you kind of teach route recognition off of things like that. You have rules as a team that plays with vision and break, and some of our coverage we're matching, and some of them we are playing off the quarterback like you're alluding to. Some are based on landmarks on the field, but they're also based on what different people are doing. So there are definitely rules, but there's probably less rules. I think the key to coverage is learning what your issues are and learning how people are going to attack you. And I think the more you see us play, they'll get more and more comfortable with that, and they'll start breaking even faster and making more plays on the football. So I think hopefully that answers your question.
All right. So the big thing there is they haven't unveiled the entire playbook yet. That's my big takeaway, right? They're breaking it out in kind of sample sizes and getting everybody comfortable with what it is he does, right? And again, I heard a defensive coordinator for a college on a podcast said that they have 10 different variations of cover 3 zone, 10 different variations, whether the strong safety buzzes, the free safety buzzes, whether the strong safety is going to be in the flat, the free safety is going to be in the flat. Are they going to be playing hard flats with the corners? Are they going to be playing invert, like an invert 3, right? Like there's a ton of different ways you can play cover 3, and that's 10 different variations on a college program of one different zone defense. So there's a lot of different things they can unveil later on. I think Half's just trying to get everybody kind of used to here's what we want to do this week based off the opponent we have this week. So you guys got any comments, questions on that, man?
I just think it's hilarious that I know they didn't do this intentionally, but have you ever seen those Sour Patch commercials? Because this is the combination of Matt LaFleur dealing with the media and Half dealing with the media. One's sweet, one's sour. Half is just so he's like, here's what we do in our schemes. And he goes in and tells him exactly. He goes, here's what we want to do with our concepts. That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. And Matt LaFleur's like, I said it's limited. And he's just spitting on him.
I was thinking about that too earlier, Jacob. I'm like, I wonder if Matt's watching this presser going, shut up, Half. Stop talking. Could be. But here's another one. I said the Green Bay Packers lead the NFL in takeaways lead the NFL in takeaways through 2 games. Defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley was asked about what has led to that outcome. And I did put worth noting, all right, 4 of the 5 interceptions have come from players who did not start for this team last year. Okay, so Xavier McKinney's got 2. Obviously, Ja's the one that was on the team last year. Evan Williams has 1. And then, of course, Eric Wilson has 1, but he did not start last year. You had Campbell on the roster, obviously, above him. So here's what Half had to say about the interceptions.
Philosophically, like when you got here the first time, I think it was Matt who asked you, are you going to play man-to-man, bump and run all the time, right? Because that had kind of been what we had heard about you.
The look on his face. You know, we talked about you're going to play man-to-man and bump and run all the time. I'm like, bro.
Dude, screenshot that one, Clayton. Look at that expression. Like that expression just screams like, bruh, are you serious?
I got you, Tim. I'm on it right there. We need that. We need to just flash that on the screen from time to time. Yeah. So
every time we hear bump and run, we're gonna just put that picture up on the screen.
And it's funny too because the people that were preaching that, man, the media members that were preaching that, they're the ones going, well, you guys were gonna do that. They never said that. There's no tendencies in the entire National Football League from any of the 32 teams that suggest you're going to play more man coverage than zone. There's none of that. Doesn't exist. You've thought that up in your own head. And I mentioned I got a bunch of messages from it, people laughing because there was a couple weeks ago. I'm like, man, I listened to a guy on a podcast who's been covering the team forever, and he's describing what the defense is doing. I'm going, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. Like, that is not what they're doing on defense schematically. It's just amazing how people – there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I try to keep my mouth shut in that regard. You know, as my dad used to say, once you stop trying so damn hard to prove your ignorance, boy. He used to say it to me. But look, we got the screen grab now that we're going to flash that.
There it is.
Oh,
I love
there
it.
we go.
I love it.
Nice.
There we go. Let's finish this up.
You were expected from you. When did you become more of a believer in vision
Look at him
and
grinning.
break? And why is that so much superior? Because we're looking at a defense that's picked off 5 passes in 2 games with almost the same guys, not all of them, as a group that had 7 all year last year.
Yeah, again, I don't ever want to go back and forth and compare to last year or this year. I mean, we played 2 games right now. I still love to play man, and I love to play press man. And I think if you turn on our film and you watch it, there's examples and times when we were doing that, and then there's times when we're playing with 2 high safeties, and then there's times we're playing with 1 safety in the middle of the field and we're playing zone. I think it also goes to who you're playing. Who's the quarterback, right? What are they going to do on 3rd down? Is it a team that's going to try to condense you and pick you and rub you? Or is it a team that's going to kind of spread you out and let you get your hands on people and play good man coverage? So you can't just say, I'm going to go in and just be a man team every single week. You got to have answers. And I think as we continue to go and we're on the field more and we get better at what we're doing, and I keep saying this, and we're able to evolve as we really learn each other and get used to playing with each other and get close. You're going to see a little bit more.
You know, we get some static, fellas, from somewhere. Mute your mic and see if it's you, Tim. Maybe it stopped. You might have had something too close. All right. Appreciate it, bud.
More of everything. But I think right now, it's what can our players do best? How are we going to get attacked this week versus last week versus the first week against the Eagles? And it's our job, and I keep saying this, to put our players in position to make plays. I mean, that's the key. So you look at some of these interceptions like last week, you know, we caught them in an area of the field where there was a lot of play action shots and we center pressure, and Quay did a great job. I mean, Quay disrupted the quarterback. The D-line did. McDuffie kind of followed suit, and I thought the coverage was tight, and X read him, and he was in the middle of the field and was able to make a play. Eric Wilson's pick, he was playing with vision on that. He kind of felt the route. He bent inside. Quarterback sped up, and he was able to make the play. I still think we should have had more. And I don't say that like, just coach speak. If you turn on the tape, there were opportunities to get the ball more, just like in the first game. And we have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and that was the problem last year, Tim. You remember we were talking about that all year. It was dropped interceptions. It was times guys were just covering space and no one in that space, right? And there were some people that were convinced that it was the defensive coaches telling them, you go stand right there and don't worry about the ball. You just stand there, little guy. Don't move. Coaches don't do that. They don't, right? So you're seeing the same issues with Coach Half, and they're putting so much emphasis on the turnovers. They're getting results. But like he's saying, man, there's still a ton of stuff out there.
Yep. And we left some on the table on Sunday. We talked about that in the Chalk Talk episode. And, you got to capitalize on these. Keyshawn had one in week 1. He had to drop pick 6 potentially. Quay had one last week. I guess the good thing about missed picks is it's still a PBU, but at the end of the day, man, you got to capitalize. And that's what this whole defense is geared around, right? Is making, that offense make mistakes and then capitalizing on them and continuing to give, our offense the ball and more opportunities to score. And, you can't miss those opportunities because, they come few and far between. I mean, we talk about Will Levis and, being a turnover machine and all this stuff. You're going to get 2 or 3 opportunities in a game, maybe at best. And you got to capitalize on each and every one of them.
Yeah. Jacob, you got anything to add to that, bro?
Yeah, I will. And you know what? I'm not going to take any more Mike slander from Eric Sutherland out here telling me I got a dollar store mic. That wasn't from me. Greg Rice comes in. He's talking. He goes, Jacob's got a huge mic. It can't be his. Yeah, that's right. I don't run a cheap system here. All right, guys. This is the top of the line stuff here.
You heard it from a fan right here.
Oh, my God. So, obviously, we talked about turnovers. One of the big things that popped up this week, a big question mark. Actually, let me put that on hold. We're going to come back to the Carrington Valentine talk. Let's do this. So this was the quote of the day for me from Jeff Hafley, right? And I know people here. This is one that got quote tweeted, and somebody quote tweeted it and was basically like, "People are already making excuses for Hafley." And I'm telling you, man, this is how coaches think right here. The quote was, "The only thing that matters is winning and losing. Period. Case closed." Right? And here's how he set it up. Again, it's about 1:47 long. Here's Coach Haff again.
Almost, if you're getting 2 or 3 a game, does it almost not matter where your numbers are in rush defense or total yards or anything like that? Is the turnovers, is it a masking or is it a way of life?
No, no, absolutely not. There is no masking. There's certain areas where we have to play better. And there's certain areas we're playing really good at times. And it's like 4, 5, 6 really good plays. And then all of a sudden there's one that, we need to play better and we need to coach better on. And that goes for a bunch. And then we kind of regroup and we got to eliminate those ones that are getting out. We are giving up too many explosive plays right now, which goes against the philosophy of our defense. And I think, the more we play, the better we coach, the more we're together. I think you're going to see those go down. The only number that's important to me is if we win or lose the game. I'm not going to be one of these guys up here that sits up here and brags about yards and takeaways and how can we win each game. We needed to play complementary football last week to win. I think that was really important. We had to keep the score down, and we had to get the ball and give it back to our offense. And I think for the most part, we were able to do a pretty good job with that. I don't think they converted a third down until about 2 minutes and 40 seconds in the fourth quarter. So you got to play great on third down. You have to play great in the red zone. We were able to stop them in the red zone and hold them to a field goal. Then we were able to get a TFL that knocked them back, and they missed a field goal, right? So we have to be great in those situations. The next step is we got to be better on, that 5th, 6th play where we look great, and then we let one out. I mean, that's the stuff that can't happen, and we all need to work on and fix that. But the only thing that matters to me is winning and losing and getting our players in the best position and seeing them have success and playing at a high level. I'm not going to be a guy that sits here and brags about any yards, any statistic. Personally, that's not important to me.
Mic drop, dude. Mic drop. And what he's talking about is like you save some shots too. Like as a coach, you've got plays that you're like, okay, when they're in this specific formation, all right, this is a blitz we want to dial up. We really think we've got the advantage, the upper hand in this specific look. And you save some of those shots, just like you've got shot plays on offense, you've got shot plays on defense too. You're looking at specific situations, like he said, getting a crucial tackle for a loss and knocking them out of field goal range. That's huge in a 6-point game. It's absolutely huge. And he understood what the game plan was and how the game unfolds as you go along. You start to understand, okay, this is how this game is going to be won and lost. We're willing to give up the run now. We talked about it, didn't we, Tim, Jacob? We talked about it in the postgame show. Like when you got in the second half, yeah, Jonathan Taylor, run wild. Go ahead, bro. You're working against that clock now. But we're not going to let you gash us in these big pass plays, man. It's the fundamentals of coaching. I honestly thought the way they're approaching this, fans would like it more because last year it was totally the opposite, right? How many times did we see give up a third down conversion? How many times did we see us, give up a first down because we're playing too far off and fans just lost their mind over it, right? All those things. So I think Half's dialed in. I really do, man.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing here is when I listen to him speak, there was a couple comments earlier which were kind of in jest, but how he's like I mentioned, how he's very nice to the press. We have to remember this is his first year as a Packers head coach.
Remember Matt, don't you?
I was gonna say, man, he resembles a little bit of first year Matt. And I think as some of these more annoying questions start pouring in, he's going to develop a callus. He's going to develop a very hard shell, and he'll probably start saying things back that are very small in scope, very limited, small sentences. And that being said, that's great. But what is the best part about Half, which we knew coming in, he talked about he was a great communicator. He wasn't just a coach. He was a teacher. And I think we've seen that in the way that he's implemented this defense. It's been very quick. It's been very fast. But look at what we've done. Look at what he said he wanted to do was be more of a turnover defense. We want to play fast. I want to play like smart. What's been happening? We literally, what did we have? 7 turnovers last year. Now we got 5 or whatever the heck it is in 2 games, bro.
Six already, yeah.
And he's communicating to these players. You saw it right there in that press conference, and I'll kick it back to y'all. He is very good at saying, hey, we need to do this better. Players and coaches. He's very good at saying those things in a way where it doesn't offend somebody, because nowadays, and I take things the wrong way. It's so easy to miscommunicate certain things in certain press conferences, text messages, and phone calls, anything. If you aren't a good communicator, it's hard. And he did a great freaking job of saying, hey, we need to coach better. We need to play better in this situation and in that situation. But other than that, we're freaking killing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
I do too, man. Tim, you got anything to add to that, bro?
No, I mean, Half's the man, and he's all ball all the time. Jacob said it the best. Communication is everything, especially when, you're coordinating a defense, and it's not just communicating to your players, but, imparting that message so that they communicate with each other out there on the field. Cause you can call a play in all day, or you can call a formation in, whatever. If guys aren't communicating in real time on the field, you're going to have problems. I mean, we saw that a little bit in week 1. We saw guys with the infamous, hey, what are you doing? I'm supposed to be here. You're there. Right. And you notice we didn't see very much of that in week 2.
Right.
So I can guarantee you somebody did a lot of communicating in practice and in the film session following the Brazil trip. And we shored a lot of that up on the defensive side of the ball. So Jacob brings up a good point, man. Communication is everything. And, when you're the coordinator, when you're a coach, you lead by example. Anyone can sit there and preach and tell guys, tell these multi-million-dollar athletes what to do. It's another thing to actually be able to communicate and make sure that message resonates with your players, and that your players are, communicating amongst themselves. The best teachers in the world don't have to babysit their students. They impart that wisdom, and they trust the student to follow through with the lessons. So I think that's what we're seeing here only a couple weeks into this season, and I think we'll continue to see it as we go throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Communication, too, is everything in every sport. Like, I was blessed enough to go to a couple private practices with Coach K at Duke University, and, wow. You're talking about awesome. Cameron indoor, just about 20 of us there, business owners, and seeing him, we have a copy of the entire practice schedule of what he's going to hit on by the second. Everything's so militaristic. And there was one particular player, I won't say his name, but during practice, he wasn't communicating. He was just quiet. He was just doing his thing. You know what I mean? Coach K blows that whistle. I mean, loud, boy, made everybody in the stands jump, hits the whistle. All the ball boys come to attention, just like the military. They take the ball and hold it on the chest with the Duke emblem out, like so precise, bro, so militarist. He blew that whistle and he said, listen, when you're talking, he said, when we need to communicate, you need to be involved with everything. Your teammate doesn't know what you're doing, right? He said, when you're not talking, you're in your, and he said the S word, poop. He said, you're in your poop.
Yeah.
He said, I need you in our poop. And he blew that whistle again. They went right back. I was like, whoo, it was so good.
I love that you bring that up. Mike Krzyzewski, an absolute legend, right? College basketball. But one thing that I think of when I think of Coach K and actually when I think of Jeff Hafley and a lot of these guys is the great coaches. It doesn't matter what level. They could coach a, 6th grade youth basketball team. They could coach college players. They could coach professionals. I mean, look at Coach K. You talk about everything he did at Duke. He coached the dream team or, one of our dream teams, so from pros to college to youth, it doesn't matter. We can talk about our own Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi didn't just coach football. He coached a lot of sports and at a lot of different levels. And, Jeff Hafley, here's another great example coming from Boston College most recently, but he's bounced around the NFL in and out of the college game, coaching guys at multiple levels. And, great coaches are great coaches, period.
Yeah, Vince Lombardi, many people don't know this, but I think it was at St. Cecilia's High School, right, where he coached and he taught. I think he taught Latin and something else. They needed a basketball coach. He'd never coached basketball. He bought a book on how to coach basketball, led him to a state championship.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's universal, man. It really is. And, it's same thing with football, right? Like anything communication-wise, I remember you could find this. I'm trying to think of what year it was, but it was on – I know it's in Michael Lombardi's book, Gridiron Genius, and there was a NFL Films that covered it too. I think it was – I want to say it was Brandon Brown, or I could be wrong. There was a DB in Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis, the GOAT, right, the Hall of Fame, right? This dude gets signed by the Patriots, and they're at practice, and Darrelle Revis isn't communicating. Everybody's communicating. Everybody's shouting it out, we talk about, being on the same page. And Darrelle Revis wasn't communicating. And somebody said something to him, and he just kind of shrugged it off like, I'm Darrelle Revis. Next play, I want to say it was Brandon Brown, or I could be wrong. They said before the play was over, DB sprints over Darrelle Revis, clocks him, sucker punches him, fight ensues. And they said, you look down on the other end, and Bill Belichick's there with his arms crossed, not doing anything, just laughing, smiling, because he knew exactly what that player was doing. After that, guess what? Darrelle Revis started communicating.
Pretty sure that was Brandon Brown, if I remember correctly.
It was, yeah. I remember that
story, man. Baseball is another thing. Like I played baseball my whole life. You've got to communicate as a shortstop. Oh my God, me and you on two. The pitcher's got to know who's got two. It depends on the hit chart. It ain't just a righty and a lefty. At the high school level, it's okay. This dude likes to hit opposite field. Hey, I'm taking this one because the second base needs to play closer to first. Me and you on two. I got the double play from the pitcher. Me and the catcher, we're on the same page. You got to know everything.
You can't assume that guy next to you knows. You've got to communicate. You got to make sure.
And if you're playing second base and there's a runner on first, you got to know where your double cutoff is. If that ball makes it to the right wall, you're communicating with the shortstop. Hey, you're my two. You're my two. You're my backup. You're my double cutoff. I got to get out there because we got a lot of noodle arms at the high school level, and you run a double cutoff. Right? Like there's so much communication.
And who's covering the bag if that guy tries to steal second?
Exactly.
A right-handed hitter, a left-handed hitter. What is the situation? It's true. There's so many comparisons between those sports because baseball is all situation, and so is football. Down and distance situation, time on the clock. Is it a 1-score game? Is it a 2-score game?
Well, real quick too, Tim, is like in Clayton is once you get into a system where the system becomes almost auto running itself, like a Bill Belichick, when you get into that dynasty mode, the players start being the coaches, which is something that is incredible. Like you would never expect that to ever happen. You have a decision or an implemented plan that you want to make sure happens, and then all of a sudden after like 3 or 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, you start churning. Your players literally are taking, like you talked about Bill Belichick, he's just sitting there in that cutoff sleeves just going,
he knew exactly what was going on.
So I feel like you talk about years and experience, that's true, but it's like I feel like we have that right now with Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, that's
I
my
feel
point.
like
Yeah.
McKinney's been here,
Yep.
45 minutes basically, and
Excellent.
and so is Jeff Halfley. But when I see McKinney out there patrolling that secondary, it's like seeing Halfley with pads on. Like he is the general out there, and you love to see it. And again, communicating. I mean, how awesome is it for guys like Bullard and Evan Williams and
I was
these
going to
young,
say that, Tim.
it's just so great to see them in this system, and you just know these guys have a bright career ahead of them because they're where they need to be for development and for playing high level ball right now. Right now, there's none of this. You're a rookie, and we're going to make excuses for you. No, we know what the job is. We expect everyone to do the job and communicate, and guys are leading by example. But to Jacob's point, I see that right now we're 2 games in, going into week 3, and we've seen this with Xavier McKinney since the start of the season. So you got to love it.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. Like every time I think of Bullard, and Bullard had a great game last week. By the way, I think A.J. Brown's still out from that hit. Like Bullard rocked him, and it was illegal. You know what I mean? Like nothing dirty about it.
It was all shoulder.
Yeah, and so you've got him literally learning from Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney's not going to be here forever. If Javon Bullard turns out to be a great player, that's going to be a safety in this system for the next 10 years. Maybe not this system, but for the team in the next 10 years, right? That's the reality. And you got Xavier McKinney teaching him the ropes, man. You can't put a price tag on that.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, so here's the last one from Halfley. This is real quick. You guys know during the game we seen Carrington Valentine come in from Eric Stokes. Now, keep in mind, Carrington's hurt this week, so he's probably not going to – there's a good chance he doesn't play, so this might not apply this week. But I wanted to hit on it because everybody was going, hey, is Eric Stokes hurt? This is what Coach Halfley said when he was asked about this.
Rotating Stokes and Valentine, is that something you determine that rotation before the game, or are you looking for certain things in the game to determine, when to put guys in and when to take them out?
Yeah, no, that was determined before the game, and it was communicated before the game. CV's a guy that, and you guys know, he's missed a lot of the training camp, and we thought he was having a great training camp before he was injured, and then he came back and we saw him practicing better and better and making some plays in practice, and we thought he deserved to play. The more guys that can have a role, I think that's really, really important. And when they go out and they practice and they compete and they're doing all the little things right, if they show that they deserve to play, we got to find a way to get them on the field. And we felt strongly about that. And I thought he did some really nice things in the game. He was physical. He came down to run hard a few times. He made a few good plays, a few good tackles. I thought he covered pretty well. The more guys you can get involved in those positions, you're going to need them. I mean, you're going to need those guys. And then, again, as we go and we develop, we can have packages where they're all in. And that's a start for him that I'm excited he got some playing time.
We're building the team. We're not collecting talent.
I freaking love Jeff Halfley. You hear those words? I felt like he deserved to play.
Yes.
Now that's going to make all 53 on that team run through a freaking wall for you at any given Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whatever. They don't care. So you
stole my talking point. Darn it, Tim.
There's a great example right there. He was banged up coming out of camp. We thought he had a great camp, but then he had a setback. So it doesn't matter. As soon as he got cleared and hit the practice field again, he was out there making plays. And that staff noticed it and made it a point to work him into that game plan. And we talked about this. Having all this talent in depth in our secondary in particular is a good problem to have. It allows you to do things like this. Look at Stokes. Stokes has been hurt basically the last, year and a half, 2 years off and on. It ain't a bad idea to maybe, give that guy a play or two off and pepper in some CV or Ballantyne or whoever it is, because we have that depth. And knowing our coordinator has that attitude gives me the utmost confidence in our defense going forward. I love it.
Completely agree.
Think about it too in the aspect of like just Green Bay being a desirable place to go play at, whether you are drafted there, UDFA, if you're in the trade market, whatever the case is. We have shown consistently that if you are a UDFA, it's definitely where you want to be. We have shown for sure if you're a late round draft pick that it's where you want to be. We're going to give you chances. And we've shown obviously lately that, like you just talked about, if you deserve to play, you're going to play. And I think that like Tim just said, I mean, what more could you want from maybe a late round guy or a UDFA or a guy that's fighting to get a draft pick or for a position? I mean, it does make a difference, because I know that there's 100 examples over the last few years. They talked about it in many of the books we've referenced, where when guys get stagnant, when the locker room gets stagnant, and they realize there's no way that I can either move up or down because of whatever dynamics are going on, they turn off. It's
Absolutely.
done. You've lost the locker room. What we have right now is a thriving ecosystem.
Yep.
It's crazy, dude.
That's why you see these young players out there laying their body on the line on special teams.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it with Cooper. We've seen it with Evan Williams, Kalen King. We saw it during camp. I mean, these guys know that a rep is a rep. It doesn't matter if it's a field goal, if it's a punt return, whatever. You're gonna walk out there and hold the towel during coin toss. Then whatever it is, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna play hard because I know that my coaches are taking notice. And we talked about the piss boys, right?
Yeah, piss boys. Yep.
Piss boys. We got a lot of quality control guys in that organization, and that's their job, right? They're keeping eyes on everybody, and they're bringing things to Halfley's attention that he may have missed, because he's got to be in that booth. He's got to be, calling our plays and stuff, bird's eye view. So that ground level, field level stuff that your coordinator or maybe an assistant coach might miss, quality control is picking up on that, and they're communicating. And so it's an across the board thing. And you see it with the effort. Nobody takes plays off. We saw that last year. That was one of the things that was so tough to watch, was you literally saw Devondre Campbell take a play off. We saw it more than once. And, it's hard to watch that. Now we're getting the polar opposite. We got guys, balls to the wall every single play.
Dude, I think what's crazier is that they're building packages so that we never have. So if you remember, it just kind of games of old, the strategy was you have your starters, you got your backups that maybe spell them for maybe a series or a half a series, whatever it is. We are now to the point where Halfley and LaFleur are so in depth with their game that they're literally like, okay, when Gary and Preston aren't out, that means that I have a stunt dedicated for Wyatt and Vaness or this or that. Or on the opposite side, we saw what they did with Bull Milton. I'm gonna just make sure that he gets the end around because he's our fifth receiver. So why not? And it's like, yeah, well, why don't we maybe factor in the fact that we have a third tight end that can do some stuff here and there? That's crazy, awesome engineering. And I think that on both sides of the ball, and I've had a lot to say about Bisaccia, but right now, all things are doing fine for me on special teams. Just keep the Narv dog kicking. I think he's got all the potential in the world. I love the way that guys like Eric Wilson and, like you talked about, Eric Barre and Vanessa are showing up on that sort of that special teams. I think right now, for being where we are in week 2, having lost our starting quarterback, guys, we should be blessing ourselves, thanking the Lord, dropping down, doing the whole Hail Marys, because
it's one word, 7 letters, man. It's culture. That's what it is. And,
100%.
And if you're not talking about your culture, you don't have a culture. It's that simple. You either got it or you don't. And when you don't, there's not been a Super Bowl team that exists that didn't have a good culture. That is 100% fact. Here's another example.
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
Thanks, Coach. This is another example here, and we'll get ready to wrap up. I know we're already going over on time, and this absolutely flew by. That's crazy, man. Christian Watson was asked about the game plan. There's been a lot of talk. He's not getting touches. He's not getting this. He's not getting that. Everybody, I won't mention names. People on Twitter are upset that he's not more involved. There's people on Twitter saying he's washed. There's people on Twitter saying he's overrated, this and that. This is how Christian Watson responded to it.
The motivation to win a football game is enough for me. I can only speak for myself, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to win the football game. Obviously, like you said, everyone wants the ball. Everyone wants to, make plays. But that's really out of my control. So I just go out there and, do what's called.
No block, no rock.
See, and I'm telling you, dude, I guarantee you, if we were a fly on the wall in that meeting room, when they were watching film and they played the film back, one of the highlights, I guarantee you, was Christian Watson blocking his ass off on Sunday. Guaranteed. And he's going to get his touches. It's going to come. It's going to happen. And I love it. I just love his attitude, man. I don't understand the hate for Christian Watson.
Championship mentality, man.
Yep.
This is how champions answer questions like this. We did this last week with Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed was asked about his individual, stats and accomplishments, and his response was, "Well, I missed a couple blocks, and there's some stuff I got to work on. I'm going to look at the film." It's constantly forward. What can I do to help this team win a football game?
Right.
I love it. The motivation to win a football game is enough for me. Trying to win for the guy next to me or behind me, that's all that matters. So if they want Scoot to block, he's going to block. They want to send him on go routes, he's going to run go routes. They want him to change the ice in the Gatorade cooler, he'll do that. It doesn't matter. And you got to love that mentality because, for all intents and purposes, Scoot is kind of the guy that, a lot of other teams in the NFL, he'd be that dude. He'd be wide receiver 1 or 2.
Absolutely. And
he would be the man and have every right to say, "What do you mean you want me to block? You better throw me the ball." Well, exactly. we don't have anyone with that attitude here in Green Bay, yet we've got several of these guys that are bona fide 1, 2, or 3 receivers on any other team in the league. And it's about who's going to be number 1 on any given Sunday. And I think Scoot, like you said, Clayton, he knows his time's coming. We're going to see it. There'll be a game where he's going to have multiple targets, multiple catches, probably, in the 100-yard plus range, and a couple of tutters and highlight reel type stuff. But you got to respect a guy that has that high ceiling and athletic ability, yet he's still willing to get down and dirty and do what's asked of him. We see that with our tight ends too and our running backs. So, we're building a team, not collecting talent, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
what's crazy is if you look at PFF right now, to this day, he is the 3rd best blocking graded wide receiver that has a minimum of 40 snaps in a game. If you watch back at that game right there, he was an absolute freak. And it was off the thing. He can block. His father, who, is on Twitter, he's a very opinionated guy. I love him. I like him. He's got a lot of opinions I don't agree with. I like him a lot. But what he did do is, like you said, man, people go at him on Twitter, and I really do hate that. I hate that we've got some negative stuff going against. There was some stuff going against Keyshawn, and sometimes you bring that on yourselves. Trust me, I am a Twitter troll. I'll admit that right now. I love poking the bear and just watching the Hornets fly around. But his dad, man, he was really he showed some angles of him just being an unselfish player. I mean, just being an absolute physical receiver. Like Tim talked about, he could go to a different team, and I picture him. He's more of a CeeDee Lamb type wide receiver prototype, in my opinion. But I don't think CeeDee Lamb can block anywhere near as good as this kid. And I don't think he's more of a team player. I think that this guy could go to literally to any to NFL team, and he could be the wide receiver 1 and be an absolute showstopper. And
I believe it too, man.
I'm glad you brought up Papa Scoot too, because you gotta believe that,
he raised a good kid.
Well, yeah, but it takes a village, right? That's a family thing. Clearly there's a good family dynamic there. And,
right.
Christian and his siblings, they all turned out successful people. But when it comes to the football side of it,
they're smart.
You got to think Papa Scoot had some influence on his son's game from a very early age and was instrumental in his development. And now that he's at the highest level of football, you got to believe that he's getting texts and calls from his pops and getting some advice on, these little nuances to the game that make you a more well-rounded wide receiver. Because I mean, that's kind of what he was when he played here in Green Bay, willing to do a lot of the blue collar kind of dirty work to open up those opportunities in the future. So it's nice to see him passing that down to his son. And, we as Packer fans reap the benefits of it because Christian Watson's an absolute dog, and I'm glad he's a Packer.
And that's the thing too. Like he and Bo Melton are the only 2 receivers on the Packers roster this year that doesn't have a drop. He's only been targeted 5 times, but he's caught all 5 passes, and he's blocking his ass off. And people that are getting mad at his dad on Twitter, here's the thing that bothers me. Have you ever looked in the mirror? If you're one of those people that are going after a player's father on Twitter and arguing with a former NFL player, by the way, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
These people that think they know football and they're arguing with former football players like they know more than them. I'm just going, what are you doing? How bad does your ego have to be?
Yeah, take it easy, Uncle Rico.
It's like, I just don't get it. And you have the right to just keep scrolling. But to think that you're qualified to jump in there and argue, it's embarrassing for the fan base is what it is. That's just me. And you can do what you want, but you're not going to see me argue with former players. I don't care what level they played at. It's just silly. It's absolutely silly. And they could literally, what I want to do when I see people do that, I want to comment and go, hey, both of y'all get on a live stream right now. I'll moderate. Let's see who knows ball.
Exactly.
Could you imagine what would happen? And it doesn't mean you can't have an opinion, but what it does mean is don't go climbing in their mentions and acting like you know more than them, bro. It's just a bad look, man.
Edit D's. How about that?
Perfect drop. All right, we got to get out of here. We're way over the divorce papers. I bet the ink's already dried on it down there. But we'll break down the PFF preview for the Packers Titans tomorrow night. I don't think I have Friday Night Lights. I'll let y'all know. And we got some stuff shifting around for the post game show. I'm going to talk to Tim and Jacob offline about that. Got some stuff I'm still waiting to get word on, but obviously we'll be in Nashville. There'll definitely be a show. There might be two shows that day. If Tim and Jacob want to do a post-game show and I can't make it back in time for the post-game show, I'll do another show later that night too.
Tim, I'm down if you're down. I'll just say that right now.
We'll talk about it offline. I don't want to put any pressure on anybody because I know Tim's going to be rolling back into town. He might not make it in time. So we'll try to put a game plan together. Regardless, there will be a show after the game. I will be in a hotel right there in downtown Nashville. Might have us a nice view too. Mandy hooked it up, bro. For the birthday weekend, she absolutely demolished.
It's almost like
by the way, wait.
Almost like she plans things for a living or something, you know?
Is it your birthday today, Mr. Clayton Bigsby?
No, it's hers.
Oh, so wait, what? No.
Anyway, we'll see y'all tomorrow. We appreciate
it's your birthday, isn't it?
Yeah, today's her birthday.
All right. Everybody wish Clayton a birthday.
Yeah.
Super chat. Just kidding.
No, don't do that. Please don't do that. God, that would be so cringe. Please do not do that.
I knew he would hate it.
That's off here before they can do that. As a matter of fact,
no, it would do it.
But we'll if there's no Friday Night Lights tomorrow with my nephew, then we'll be back on tomorrow. If not, we'll figure something out.
Everybody wish him a happy birthday in the chat. Come on, give him a happy birthday.
God,
this old man won't let us wish him a happy birthday.
What I was getting at is she hooked us up with a high-rise hotel downtown Nashville where there's going to be a sweet view. Emilio just booked a room there too, so he'll be along for the ride. It'll be a good time. So we'll hit that up. You probably heard of it, but I'll talk to you about it offline. I don't want to give her location.
Oh yeah, don't give your location away.
Yeah, somebody show up, try to slap me or something. You know what I'm saying? So, and people ask this. They did ask this question. Daryl asked, anyone tailgating this Sunday? I'm probably going to be at that landscaping meet up or whatever that we're invited to. We're going to be in a section of the stadium where we got like an indoor atrium. So you got to have a ticket to get in there. But if anyone wants to meet up pregame and I'm still outside of the stadium because we're allowed to go into our section at like 10 a.m. I think it is. So there's like little extra privileges and things. If we're still outside, shoot me a DM if you want to meet up. I'd love to shake your hand and like I said, just at least get to meet a few listeners. That would be fun. But we'll definitely be there. And I think we're going to crash there Sunday and then just come back Monday. Well, I'm so lazy, guys. I'm just telling you. The older I get, I was looking at flights earlier. I'm like flying in Nashville. I'm like, I don't even want to drive down. I just want to. I am that old man now. So, anyway, appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Special shout out to Bernie. Thank you so much for the super chat, bub. We appreciate you so much. The chat was lit tonight. Y'all made this show. That's the reason we went over. We were planning on doing a PFF preview, but the chat was so good too, man. It was just conversation was great. So. Tim, Jacob, thank y'all so much, man. This was fun. We'll see y'all tomorrow, potentially. I'll put a stream post up and let y'all know when we're going to go live. But, yeah.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us part of your day. Don't wear a backpack out like this, please, for God's sake. Okay? Don't be that guy. If you do, you're going to get this look. I guarantee you. Yeah. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world.
No block, no rock.
Go Pack, go.